pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. I'm Karen Bacchus. For those of you who don't know me, this is Superintendent Neal.
Hi.
And this is Dr. Jeff. Jeff Taylor. He used to be the principal of the school.
Oh, yeah?
Now he's in charge of technology.
It's a fun elementary or?
No, this was Gordon Junior High School.
Oh, you were,
Yeah, I was
okay.
a principal here.
Nice.
Then we closed the junior high school
Yeah.
on that building. So.
So, does everyone, just in case people don't know each other? Okay.
Oh, sorry. Karen Weatherall, and I'm with Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition.
Kayla Quirk. I manage the food service department and purchasing here at the district.
And I'm Jen. Well, we all work for Aramark, but I'm the general manager for the district.
Robert Rustico, I'm the chef manager for the city of Warwick.
I'm Christine Barnes, the Assistant Director of Warwick.
Thank you all for coming. So, I wanted to welcome all of you folks, and this is Health and Wellness. This is our second meeting, and so far so good. So, who missed last month's meeting?
They were here.
Okay. So we had introductions,
Yeah.
and we talked about maybe some of the things we would do. And I asked everybody to think about what they want to do going forward. Here we go.
Hello.
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 So, Karen, I have to leave at 4.
So do
Okay. You're
right.
welcome, Coach. So,
I. My first question, my first thing is, that I wanted to ask is 3 o'clock okay for everybody, or is 3:30 better?
It's good for me.
3 o'clock.
3 works fine for me. You?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
Yes.
I just wanted to check that. And do we want to meet through the summer, or?
I'd say at least once. But well, what do we do now? Every other month?
No, we do not.
Do every month, right? So
We just
at least once in the summer.
Do we want to meet in June and then maybe take July off? What's your schedule? When are you guys working?
I work all summer.
You work all summer?
Yeah, I mean, we take vacations in the summer, so I'm sure at least one of us would be here,
Okay,
whenever you had. I think June and then maybe at the end of August would be good.
that's what I
That
was
would be
thinking.
cool,
maybe
'cause
take
Yeah.
July off.
July gets
Because everybody
bananas
goes on vacation.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's what we'll do then.
yeah, that sounds
between
good.
summer baseball and all that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
nutty. So
Does that work for you, Karen? So you want to,
And maybe if we can meet before school ends,
Yeah.
in June, like, not that last week.
I'm gonna reach over and steal some of these.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What days work well for folks in June?
Any day works for me, but at this time, because I usually get all my stuff is out of the way by this time, so. As long as I'm out.
And when's the last day? 20th?
About the 18th, is that Tuesday?
Yeah. I can do the 18th. Can everyone do the 18th?
What's it, a Wednesday?
Yes.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Sorry.
Tuesday.
19th.
Wednesday is
the
that
Wednesday
holiday.
is Juneteenth, that holiday, so we're not here.
Interesting. Yeah, I can do that.
So the next meeting will be June 18th at 3.
Yeah.
Off in July. Can folks make August 28th?
Yep.
What is our meeting? What is our meeting?
The week before.
22nd.
Yeah.
We'll put it down, so that we have a date, we'll put it down for the 28th,
The 28th.
28th. At 3 o'clock, and then if we have to change it, at least we have the time down.
I will have to go to bed early that day. It's the day before school starts.
I wish I could go to bed.
Okay, so health and wellness statewide, healthy schools. I passed out the May newsletter so you folks can see the kind of things that they do statewide. Karen, can you give us?
Yeah, just give you a little bit of update on some things, just because I know we've talked about this meeting many times, is the progress of the Healthy School Meal for All bills. It's getting towards the end of the session, so this is where the real work and negotiation happens, and I would say there still is a lot of talk at the State House about it. It's a big price tag. And so they're really just, I think with the two sponsors, Caldwell and Kano, are working it hard and talking to their colleagues, and we'll have to see. But I think that there's definitely, the governor did have in his budget, just really, and you could attest to that's not going to make much of a difference at all, moving the reduced price students into a free. But there might have to be some other incremental steps. I don't know what that would look like, maybe doing a free, you don't have universal free, do you, for breakfast?
No, nowhere anymore.
Yeah, so looking at maybe that, I think that they're starting to look at what else could we do. They recognize there's a need, but it really needs to be continuing. I mean, the speaker says, I got to hear from, if legislators say this is one of my top priorities, then we know that that's more where people want to see the budget go to. And I still feel like there's a misunderstanding. I don't know. I mean, you guys had it here, pardon?
With the speaker.
Well, just about that, how this is impacting school districts and your budget and your ability to educate and, you know, what your responsibilities are as a district and how you've taken all this on and what a burden that is, all to just provide kids with nutrition during their school day. So, you know, this idea, and we've been trying to share about how much unpaid meal debt is out there, and then when it ends up being paid by the district. I know, of course, that, you know, you guys ended up putting together a partnership. There are some districts that, like a local business stepped up. That's not a sustainable way.
And that partnership that we have is not really to pay the debt. It's to help people who are, you know, down and out and poor and don't make the cut for the application. It's to help them cover their lunches.
Yeah, which,
So what are we at, about quarter of a million?
Oh, debt?
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
200
And that,
something now.
it's so hard to say, no one knows, you know, there's this idea too, and not to waylay, we don't want to spend too much time on this, but nobody wants to pay for wealthy families. So I hear that a lot, right? Of course we want to pay for families who are struggling, but why should we pay for wealthy families? And at some point, first off, that's very hard to say, right? I mean, a lot of, even the way in which the application, I would say a lot of people, and we've heard this from like the superintendent in Little Compton, who's a big proponent of this, is we have so many families that are sort of like in the gig economy. They're doing things. Honestly, I think some people have things under the table. They're not sure, how do I put this money in here? You look at it, and if you have a salary job that you get paid, well, this is my annual salary, and this is what my gross is. It's easy, but a lot of people who are struggling to get through the day and making it work
Do
don't
whatever they
have that
can.
kind of income, right? So they just look at this form and it's like, how do I even put what I make and include that? And there still is a lot of stigma around it, and I just don't think that we're really getting at all of the families that could really benefit from it. And then as well as, and I'll just say it, even Justine Caldwell represents East Greenwich, and she's like, just because you maybe live in East Greenwich and have money doesn't mean your kids are eating the best food. We
Yeah.
see it where kids bring in things. We know that study after study says the school meals program is a healthier meal option than typically what's brought from home, not exclusively. And if anything like this passed, it doesn't mean every kid has to participate. It just means it's accessible. Parents could still pack a lunch, or kids could still bring it. But the idea too is to help better fund the program so it's better for everyone. So we will see where it goes. But if you meet the speaker out on the street someday around here,
Plus, the
Um,
income guidelines haven't changed either.
the income guidelines
They-
haven't
they
changed.
shift a
Correct.
little bit, but they're
Yeah,
not
no,
a big
and it's the
shift.
same nationally,
It's
so
the
it's
same.
very challenging in a
It's-
high cost of living.
So what can we do? So I've been doing a lot of advocacy work, and I've been on the floor and talking to everybody I can get my
Mhm.
voice in front of, because the governor's budget has cut a lot of things, not just this.
I
So
know.
what can we do to advocate for this particular thing? What are we looking, can you get us data on what, how many kids are getting this, like, is there something that we, I might be able to say to, Senator DeLuca or McKinney, or to the Speaker of the House, like whoever. I've just been talking to whoever, because I'm in Cranston as well a lot, and I'm in Warwick, and they have two that are on the Warwick line. Like a lot of that stuff, is there something that we can kind of pitch to them, almost like a quote unquote elevator speech, to say, hey, try and get behind this with some of the other guys that you had talked about, Cano and who was the other one? Caldwell.
Yeah, they're the bill
just kinda-
sponsors. But
kinda
there
get behind it.
is, I can share it with you again, it's RI Healthy School Meals, the number 4 all. And that's a website that there's like 45 community organizations that are all behind it.
Is it on the website, the coalition website, Rhode Island Healthy School Meals for All? All right, so I have it. All
Okay.
right, it's right in this packet, so.
Okay. Oh, is it? Last month, yeah, I guess it probably was.
Yeah, perfect.
It's in there every month. But that has a very easy digital platform to send an email based on your address. You just put in your mailing address and it pops up who your reps and senators are, right here. And you can send, a note. But yeah, if you have any personal connections, there have been some districts that did choose to, the school committees, draft a resolution in support. And at this point, I think all of this is happening right now, because I think the speaker's looking for folks to say, what are your top priorities? What's important to your district? What is it? So it's just if people, believe that this is a priority, to make that
I
heard.
mean, the numbers show that it's somewhat a priority, and then being on the health equity zone, I can get some of the health equity zones around the areas to kind of get behind it and advocate for it too, as well, with their districts, so.
Yeah, I've shared information
You know.
with the health equity zone as
Yeah.
well, so some are very much, very involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that, and as I said, we'll see if there's even any incremental, as I was driving here on a webinar, a national webinar, and there were several folks, like someone from Colorado, California and Massachusetts did it, Maine, so some of the states as well that have stepped up. Obviously, the solution really is a federal solution, and we'd be looking for that as part of just, that meals should just be part of a public school day. talking about how it has worked in some other districts and where are the states that are still trying to do it, and using state dollars, leveraging federal dollars first. That's most important. Let's get as much of the federal dollars in here as we can, but to make up the difference. So that is that. Another thing around school meals that I was just talking to the Aramark folks about, the Rhode Island Department of Education Child Nutrition Program that manages all the school meals program has been awarded a USDA grant called Students Take Charge. And the idea is to get students more engaged in the school meals program and feeling good about participating and feeling good about what's being served, and understanding, just having a better sense around, I'd say, nutrition and local food and sustainability kind of education. And so this was modeled after, so this is going to be offered, and I'll give the links and opportunity if the district or any schools in the district are interested. The SNAP Ed program, which is based out of URI, they do education, but they can only do it in districts because it's affiliated with SNAP benefits that have high poverty. So if districts have, or if schools have 50% or more free and reduced, they can do education programs there. And they've been doing this program, typically working with 5th grade classrooms, mostly health education, and they do a lot of very fun, interactive nutrition education programs. And then one of the fun things at the end they do is the students actually take favorite recipes from home, foods that they enjoy, recipes, many of them being more culturally diverse, and then work with food service and rework the recipes so that it's compliant to be served in schools. And then they make them, and all the students during the lunch period try them, and they vote on which one they like the best. And then they actually put it on the menu and serve it. And then also as part of that, some of the students actually attend a wellness meeting and read a letter and talk to the wellness committee about what they learned in the program. So it's got elements of student leadership, again, just reminding them that they have a voice and that they can be more engaged and work with food service.
Yeah,
So,
they were at the mental health center, the table with the food and stuff.
oh,
They
the
were
SNAP
cool.
Ed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
okay.
cool. I met them. They were really nice. and
Yes,
I took home all their pamphlet
okay,
stuff.
they
It's
do,
cool,
yeah, they have a lot of
They have a ton of
resources,
stuff.
a lot of things. So, so this program for next year, so the idea is we're looking at taking that and now making it available to more, because we keep on hearing just because a school isn't in that, socioeconomic group, that they still would benefit from and the kids would enjoy and it would improve things. So we're going to be making a toolkit out of it and making it so that schools could offer it on their own. But for next year, we're expanding now to schools or school districts. Some, like Woonsocket, they had in one school all of their 5th grade classrooms. So it was one school, but not just one classroom, like all of the 5th grade classrooms. And so interested schools can sign up, and the SNAP Ed folks would be going out to actually deliver it for next year. And then we're ultimately taking what we learned from that and then making it into a toolkit. So if there's interest there, it will be in our June e-news, but I can share the link for that if there's interest. And the other part of it, of this Student Take Charge, is around culinary training. Again, the idea that in the meals program, there's often not a lot of opportunities for professional development. We have now a good partnership with Johnson & Wales in our own backyard. We have one of the world's best culinary, institutes. And so we had a session last week and using their test kitchens and bringing in the culinary child nutrition professionals and working on recipes that are more culturally diverse, how to do them with less sodium, so more scratch cooking, knife skills, etc. So there is another opportunity for on-site culinary training. So again, I know it's really hard with how do you get people together for timing, but we have a interest form, a sign up for that. And it's just, if you would like whatever it is, whatever your staff could use training on, that the chefs and some students from Johnson & Wales would actually come. Because it's one thing to be in their test kitchen, which is absolutely gorgeous, and work there. It's another thing to be in a school kitchen. Looks very different. So sometimes you don't have the right equipment. Sometimes, you have to make, you have to use the equipment that you have. So that's another opportunity that would be paid out of this grant. So,
And that doesn't have to be for communities?
no. So this is for any program. So I'll follow up. I guess I'll send it to you, Karen, and then you can, I don't know, Jen, if I should send it to you, but however, you want to do that, and then you can
Send
share
it
it.
to Kayla.
Okay. And send it out and see if there's, if you have any interest in either one of those, or if you think any of your elementary schools might be interested in the Students Take Charge program. Okay. So that's one thing. I did want to mention, and I don't know if you've ever done it here, but as, again, the policy was rewritten, the committee's up and running, but just a reminder on the accountability for health and wellness in the district. So you now are compliant, you have an updated comprehensive wellness policy. Do you know when you're next where you are on the review cycle with
It
RIDE?
might be this year,
Okay.
because we had it in 1920, and then
Oh,
school
and
closed
then
the
that
very
was-
next week.
yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It might be a few more years.
Okay, it's now on a 5-year cycle. So a lot of people say like, well, is anyone watching this? Like, how does this, you
Yeah.
know, what's like the auditing? And it comes through the administrative review process, which has always been in existence. Now it's on a 5-year cycle. But the RIDE staff come out and they start off by doing a lot, spending time in your schools, looking at all your financials, at your production records, at your recipes, nutrition standards. But they also now will be asking, we need to see a copy of your wellness policy. We need to see evidence on how you're meeting the requirement around a wellness meeting. And there's also a requirement around, you have to monitor the implementation of your policy and report it to the public. So we do have some tools, these checklists. I don't think you've ever used it here. And in a bigger district, you really do need to do it school by school, because an elementary on this side of the city may be doing something very different than one, and, you know, they're just different environments. So each school has a checklist, and I can share the link about that so people can take a look at it. But the idea is that it's not like one person. You can't send it to the principal and say, fill this out, because he or she is not going to know all the answers. It's really, okay, we got to ask our, you know, food service person about this. Let's ask the nurse that. You know, maybe talk to the PE teacher and health teacher about this, in order to say it's done on a rubric. So it will align with the policy, what the requirements are of the policy, but just saying, are you meeting it? Are you exceeding it, or do you need improvement? And at the end, we have a whole summary for a district. So it's actually kind of a nice tool, even for you to go back to the full school committee and say, you know, here, and this is what a lot of districts do. The requirement is at least once every 3 years. So that you can provide actual data back and say, here's how we're complying with it. And then just an overview about, here's the committee, here are the goals that we want to work on, here's the things we accomplished, you know, here are the things that we still have, you know, left to address. So I just wanted to point that out, because I didn't think that you all had done that yet, but
No,
that,
no.
yeah. So, and that is part of the policy. It does say that last section around implementation and reporting. It says the triennial.
But it has to go to RIDE.
And no, it doesn't go to RIDE.
I thought.
No. RIDE comes in, and when I share this page, I mean, it's all right here. We actually have, let's see, monitor, assess, right here. So it says, district staff should reference the RIDE review checklist when preparing for USDA administrative review, as it details the exact items RIDE evaluates with regard to local wellness policies. So we actually developed this in conjunction with RIDE, and there it is. So you have exactly, this is what they're going to come in with and say, you know, we need to see this, where's evidence of that, you know? So you, in order to meet that, and that, again, is in addition to all the program requirements that Jen and team will take care of, that you have to have evidence that, at least on a triennial basis, that you monitor it. So I'll share that out too.
Thank you.
So just a mention of that. What else was I going to say? Our breakfast for school wellness leaders, which I know some of you have attended. It's on October 23rd. It's a Wednesday, same time, same place. And some of these things will actually be present. We're going to do a panel on mental health, a number of initiatives from districts and RIDE, both with staff, mental health, and student and family. And what else was I just going to say? Something. Oh, but we are going to feature one of the recipes too that was developed during that training for the breakfast buffet. So, yeah. So I just
What
wanted
was
that
that date?
as a save the date, October 23rd. Mhm.
At the Crown.
And it's at the Crown Plaza, early morning, 7 to 10. So I'll follow up with the link, which will have the requirements around that monitoring and reporting, and then some of the tools to use to be able to do that, looking forward maybe to next year, as well as the 2 links to the signups for the Student Take Charge 5th grade education program, and then the culinary trainings that are on site if there were an interest in signing up for either one of those.
That sounds cool. Is that something you guys might like to do?
Definitely. And that's for nutrition staff, the culinary trainings.
Yeah, for your,
Yeah.
yeah. So the one that we had last week was mostly at your level, like the managers.
Yeah.
And we also had another section for bit. Did anyone come from work? I have to look. I don't think so. I don't think I saw anyone. But business managers and even wellness leaders who attended. But there were 2 sessions of the culinary. But that was for more the director
Yeah.
level. But now coming out, they'll actually come out into your schools
And they'll work in the kitchen.
and work in the kitchens with the staff. Yeah.
Cool.
I know it's tough. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know whether you have any time, like in August, before school starts, where you have any training days or
Not culinary sorts of training.
no? Yeah, I know you have to cover all that's required.
Yeah. Let me think about it.
Okay.
Think about if there's somewhere we could fit
If there's
something
some creative
How
Yeah.
long do they,
to do it.
in. Is it like a whole day?
yeah,
No, I
few
think,
hours.
you know
An
what,
hour or two?
honestly, right now, I think we're just trying to see what can work. What
Yeah.
are your needs? So the idea is, we now have this partnership with Johnson & Wales. They're
Yeah.
really looking to get out and offer support in schools. And
It's crazy at the beginning of the year, so probably maybe like October would
Yeah.
be a good time.
Yeah,
Because at the beginning, everyone's, a
yeah.
little stressed out, getting things running.
Of course, yeah. Well, that will, on this, and it's just like an interest form. Who should we contact? Are there better times? What types of, skills, what might be helpful to address? So I think the idea is just trying to find out. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think a full day would be, it's tough. It's
Yeah,
very tough.
Yeah.
that sounds interesting. Anything else,
Okay.
Karen?
I'm just thinking for one other thing, but we will be having, another e-news will come out with some more information. Have we talked about vaping here? I don't remember. Is that an issue in your schools?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying, because there are several that have said that that's what many meetings have been on. I just learned, and I can send this too, which seems interesting, it's a research study, but it's out of Stanford University, and it's a new vaping prevention program. But what they're looking for now is to compare it. And what I like when I hear new, because we all know that the anti-tobacco, many that health teachers taught 10 years ago isn't even pertinent anymore because everyone's using electronic devices. You got to come at it a different way to try to get kids to understand and to get them not to start or to stop. So when I hear new, because I've often heard too that a better way to the teens' brains and the way they work, talking about the health impacts like getting lung cancer, it doesn't matter. They're not thinking about that. It's right. So this is, but sometimes they say by looking at it at what these companies are trying to do, they're just trying to get your money. They're marketing to you and showing examples of marketing back in the day with cigarettes. And now look at how they've just changed all this and they're just trying to really get you hooked.
So we have a program called, I do the task force,
Yes.
substance abuse task force. here in the city with the Round Prevention Coalition and Kathy Sullivan. And
Yeah, she's-
we have a program called Media Ready,
Yes.
and it does
I know
that
that
exact thing.
exactly.
We just finished it in Windman, and it was wonderful. And what it does is it takes that alternative approach of, well, yeah, all right, we talk about all that stuff, it causes all these health risks, and it just kind of goes in one area, in one and out the other, and we took a lot of these things of what these kids are being targeted in the ads, on social media, on TikTok, on all their stuff, right? And then we took some of the old stuff that we used to see when we were kids, and we say, look how similar they are, and look what they're targeting, and then we kind of turned it into of a like, well, look at, they think they're getting one over on you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They think that you're not catching on to this, but we can help you learn to catch on to this and see you're not, they think you're stupid. We don't, kind of something like that. And it resonated with these kids a lot. And that newer approach works. Because again, health teacher, we have all that stuff, and we can tell you until we're blue in the face that it's going to hurt you, but they still do it, where if they start to get educated on like how they're being targeted and how they're, the ad companies think that they're not bright on it, then they start to take a little more interest in it.
Yep, I think,
So-
and that's been based on research. So-
Yeah.
So that's what this is. Again, it would only be if there were a school interested, but kind of the nice thing about this is, so they're looking for middle and high school educators, but for anyone who registers with this program, and so it's a new vaping prevention program, there are 5 sessions with it. The school gets a $2,000 incentive. The educator gets a $200 incentive, and there are, students need to complete 2 surveys, short surveys, and every student would get $10 for every survey. So they're putting something into it to look to see what the results are. So again, you can't say you're an evidence-based program unless you have the
Unless you
research.
have
So
the
this is
research.
Stanford that is looking for, it's called You and Me Together Vape Free. So I can send this, and if there were any interest in, even you looking at it for one school or, because I do think too, if you had some money, sometimes asking the kids, like, whether there's a DARE program about, like, I know a lot of them are now not drunk driving, but making responsible decisions, or if you have there are some schools that actually have a group of kids that are leading anti-tobacco and whatnot, but if you get the
We have
kids
it.
involved, okay, you do, and thinking about, oh, we have this money, what could we do? What would be a way that you could get classmates to think about, we want to be a vape-free school, we don't want kids to be,
The high school has it. It's the VASA program, right? The Student Assistance Counselors do it. With the
Okay,
VASA, it's like
Oh, the
athletes,
varsity
varsity
athletes.
athletes against
Yes,
substance
yes, yes.
abuse.
right.
And they do a lot of that stuff with a lot of the younger kids and stuff like that, which I think is great.
Yeah, well, this is middle and high school they're looking for, but I was just in another training, and for health education, they really say if you look at data, like if you look at YRBS data or your school health profiles or whatever, what kids are saying, and you're finding that, 8th grade is when it all, falls apart and kids are trying to, you really need 3 years before that is where you need to do the prevention.
Exactly.
You can't say, so I know sometimes people don't hear, but it's really those older elementary grades that you gotta start, talking
And
about.
a lot of
this
times you have to-
prevention.
I'm sure you can speak on it a little more, is tippy-toeing around the parents
Yeah,
and, having them get on board with it. A lot of times you get a lot of pushback when you go, the younger you go, the parents push back a little bit more of like, why are we exposing our kids at this age? Like,
yeah,
but the data shows
Yeah.
that you need
Yeah,
to get
and if you
ahead of
have
it
that
3 years
behind
ahead
you.
of time,
and we have a health education framework, it's the same thing with sex education, I think I've talked about before, and we're really now working with promotion on that Right to Know app, which is around sexual and reproductive health for teens and young adults. And that's another area sometimes problematic,
Mhm.
but it's part of comprehensive health. It's part of our state's health education framework. Health educators are required to teach it because it's information that young people need.
So,
So the thing I've heard some places about vaping is this just happened with a nurse in a district, was doing a unit on it, and it was an elementary school, is the little one was saying, but my daddy uses that. So how could that not be good? And so that was a little tricky for the nurse that she, but I think it has changed behavior. Don't you remember? I feel like, not me, but like my kids maybe in their 30s, got a lot of grandparents to quit smoking because they were like, Grandpa, I learned in school that like smoking could kill you. I don't want to, I really think it made a difference. And so sometimes it's our kids, what they learn in schools can really change the behavior of their parents, of their family. So it's not, you should, kind of back away from that, but I get it. It can be sensitive.
But also, I mean, nicotine is very addictive. and-
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did we talk about too, have you looked at your nicotine-free campus policy? So that's another thing, and you may have talked, so the really moving from a punitive policy to a more, I'm forgetting the word, but supporting students. So, because the idea being a lot of policy in the past where you get caught once, you get caught twice, you get suspended, this was happening, but for some of these kids, they are addicted. So it's supporting them, and the Rhode Island Smoke-Free Coalition has a model policy, and part of it, I can send that to, has a lot of free programs like smoking cessation. You can't force them to do it, but a lot of times they're required to meet with the student's assistance counselor or their parent to get this information, because they might be, if you say, in addition, maybe they have an in-school suspension and have to watch this webinar in the hopes that they would agree to then taking part in a cessation
I think they're
program.
meeting, not all of them, but I think a lot of the schools, as far as I know, when that happens,
Mhm.
they are being somewhat referred to the student assistance counselors, because I get that data, because they work for, I think it's 50% for the school and 50% from the prevention coalition. So we see all that data.
Okay,
So they
uh-huh.
are getting referred. And then I know personally that when something happens like that, as far as drugs, alcohol, vaping, stuff like that, the school can, at some point, the principal can mandate that. Because I had, I guess I can share it, whatever. At 17 years old, I got in a drunk driving accident.
Mhm.
And I was referred to the student assistance counselor by the principal. You know what I'm saying? So it can be at some point. I don't know policies and stuff like that. I can't speak on any of that the school department has, but I do see that data that they are being referred more to the student assistance counselors. And then the school resource officers who confiscate some of that stuff, they give them to all of us, and we do a count on how many are being. Is it
That's
a,
the thing, you
you
don't
know,
know,
you don't,
right?
you don't know.
So
So
hard.
we try to,
Yeah.
do that stuff too.
Yeah, but it might be something to look at. So the policy, again, it's just your bigger district, equitable among the schools, right? That on this, that has a link to the model policy to look at, to adopt, and then what these no cost or very low cost for some of the cessation programs.
Should send it to Kristen too, because she's been doing a lot of that work. Yeah, she's been doing wonderful work on that stuff with, just combating a lot of those issues, especially Kristen Murray. She's one of the, she's on the, I don't know her
She's
title.
an SEL coordinator.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's been doing a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
with that
Great.
and all that stuff. So that would be something right up her alley too. So,
Okay. Okay.
and it kind of,
We have a couple of secondary people here.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what do you see at Tollgate?
There's a vaping problem.
Oh,
Yes.
and they're quite skilled at using it without us knowing.
Yeah.
Hide it in the ceiling tiles in the bathroom.
That.
They reserve that for other
Other
substances,
things.
so.
Yeah,
Come on.
they put the good stuff in there.
They can, I mean, you can hide them you can hide them in plain sight, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look like they aren't what they are.
Yeah, a lot of them are being made like, they look like pens and stuff like that. Yeah,
Granite stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can look like just about anything you could think. They look like, obviously nobody uses USB or a dongle or anything you think it is, and it's not. And then there's others that look pretty close to what it actually is, but
Yeah.
you can do it walking down the hallway if you wanted to. I could have a bunch of people around me, I could do it, you would never know.
and a lot of times is they're either getting somebody older to buy it for them, or sometimes their parents are even buying it for them. And, we just finished our compliance checks with the police department, and we take, 17, 18-year-old kids, and we send them into the stores and say, go try and buy it. And then if the store fails, then I come in and we do a training and we do a thing to try and combat that. But, they're either getting it sold underage, because it's now 21 when it used to be 18, but it's 21 now. And I have to continuously remind people about that it's 21, it's not 18. And, we do these compliance checks, and then, but they still have stores that they can go to and they get it. I mean, and then on top of it is their parents aren't educated on the fact of what they're doing. They think it's not as harmful as cigarettes and this and that. It's still just as addictive. They're buying it for them.
They're also using things with THC concentrate, which are high levels of THC.
97%
Yes.
pure THC. I mean, that stuff is horrid. And a lot of them say, I want to use it for anxiety and this and that. I'm like, I said to some of my kids, I'm like, you're right. It's going to cause you more anxiety. The higher the potency, the more effects it has on you. I said, if you really think you suffer from that stuff, go see a doctor, or go see you. Go see the social worker in the building. Go talk to somebody about it. But yeah, you're seeing that a lot more in the high schools than you are in the middle schools. But it's high potency.
That's crazy.
Same thing with the dabs. I know they're kind of fading out of style now. I hate to use that word, out of style, but dabbing was in for a little while, which is 99.8% pure concentrated THC. And what you do is you grab this little tool, it's like a scooper, and you have this big water bong, and you take this goop. It's just THC goop, and you put it, and you heat this thing. You heat it up to a high level of heat, and then you put it on there, and you just get completely obliterated. Like it's like 99.8% concentrated.
And they would bring
THC.
that into school?
Some kids will do it at home. Like I said, it's starting to
Or in the
fade.
parking lot, or in their car.
Yeah. And
In the woods.
it's starting to fade out now,
It's crazy.
but it was a popular thing last
Yes, it's
season.
very potent, and it's easily it doesn't have this, so it's about that much, will get a lot of people on it for a long.
Yeah, it comes in something like this.
Absolutely.
And then you use it the size of your fingernail, and it doesn't stink. It
So I can
doesn't.
transport it, no one knows that I have it.
Doesn't smell.
I can put it in
You can
my
smoke it. It doesn't smell on you.
vaporizer.
Mhm. So there's a lot of that stuff going on too. And then I just try and educate as much as I can with parents and the effects, and then the kids of like, all right, we're getting towards the end of the year. It's exam time. Don't buy any Adderall off the street. Go to a doctor. I'm always saying, if you think you need, go to a social worker, go to a doctor, go see someone, because I worked with the Attorney General over the last couple of months, and we're seizing pill presses that these people are making Xanax pills and Adderall pills with pure fentanyl. You know what I'm saying? It's just pure fentanyl. And
Why
the only
do
reason
these dealers want to kill their population?
I have no idea. It's a cheaper way to make it. And at the end of the day, the only reason we found out was there was a group of recently released felons that were on parole that had to go get drug tested. And a number of them kept saying like, hey man, I didn't take anything. I didn't take anything like that. I went and bought a Xanax pill to go to sleep. And we started to see this pattern. And then we started to realize that these people are pill pressing Adderall pills, Xanax pills, all those different pills. And so I tell these kids of like, because you see a lot of kids in college and in high school trying to cram for these exams. Let me take some Adderall and stay up all night and cram for these exams. You don't know what you're taking anymore. Unless you're getting it from a pharmacy and a doctor, you have no clue what's in it.
No, I know 2 people like.
Yeah. I mean, I've buried a dozen friends over the last 15, I've been clean 15 years. And I've buried maybe 15, 16 friends of just stupidity. It's just certain things that you buy and it's not even
What you think you're buying.
what you think it is,
All right, let's move on.
Hmm.
We have 10 minutes.
Karen,
Yes.
Robert has one little thing he wants to
Oh, please.
do too, like somewhere, it can be at the end, if
Okay.
you want to do your things first and then.
All right. I'm gonna, the mental health fair. And then I was on vacation.
we can talk, we were both there.
I thought we had a fantastic turnout.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
we had 179 adults show up and 172 youth. So a very strong
That's good.
number. What I loved personally from the different, because I've been involved in this particular fair for the first 3 years that we've done it. The school came out in full force of, you had nurses there, you had social work teams there, you had your health and, like everybody was there and had their tables. And I thought it was very nice to see because now kids can associate that of like, all right, now I know who my social workers are in my building. Now I know who my nurses, like who might not have known. And then we had, 32 agencies and
Yeah.
tables.
Yeah.
Mentor RI was there. We had the Health Equity Zone there. We had, Child Inc., Ocean State Behavioral Health, the URI program. We had, Parent Support Network. I mean, anything you can think of, Anchor Recovery, anything you could think of around mental health or any type of resource, they were there. Cameron Kadick had done a wonderful job in kind of putting that all together. And then we formed a team off of our substance abuse task force team. And then, like I said, I thought it was wonderful to see, your table there, that you guys had 5, 6 people.
How was that?
We had parents come up and ask questions about specific things. Some people wanted referrals for counselors or where should I go, what booth should I talk to? And we were able to specifically direct them to a table. And then also network in between and say, I think it was like the Rhode Island Suicide Prevention is going to come out and do a training at Tollgate. So it was nice to have that.
Mhm.
But we had parents who were engaged and.
Oh,
really
that's
enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
it was really engaged. Everybody seemed to be engaged and they took full advantage of what was there. And like you said, it was nice for them to answer the questions and have a resource table to send them to. And then Thrive did calming games. They did a gaming room that had different games to teach kids how to cope with their issues, to kind of step back and take 5-10 minutes and maybe play a game and do a puzzle or do this to kind of bring yourself back. And then they had the yoga and wellness, like on the hallway, we had like gong things and like different things, and people really seemed to enjoy that. And then you had a little bit of fun with it. We had signs that said, end the stigma, or, know your mental health. And then people could take pictures in front of this selfie station. And it was kind of cool, and then the school staff was there to help facilitate that, and help take pictures and, and all that stuff. And I thought it was wonderful that the amount of teachers, I give you guys credit for pushing that out there, and the amount of teachers that showed up and came out to help, and really means a lot to the kids. The kids see that and say, okay, our teachers are there for us. All right, well, maybe I can go and talk to somebody, if it's not you, it might be a teacher that they see doing this work and saying, hey, what can I do to get some help? And then obviously educating the parents is key on that stuff too.
So will that be an annual thing?
That'll be an annual thing as far as I know, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna cut out changing how we feel by changing what we eat. It was a seminar that I went to. It was cool, I can talk about that anytime. But, Robert, what do you got? for us?
Yes, hi, everyone. Robert Rusko. Nice to see you all. The chef manager. I work with Aramark. I made 6 packets, so I'm sorry, I don't quite have enough for everybody. Just to look through.
RESCO?
RUSTICO, yes, yes. There you go. You can't use pass those
Oh,
around,
I
please.
have that.
Yeah, you have that
electronically,
deck
so
right
you
here.
guys can keep
Yeah.
this.
So over the last few years, even going further back, we have built a very strong relationship with Farm Fresh Rhode Island. We've implemented tastings, and this year we really were able to bring in many foods.
The educational part of it.
Yep, many foods we were able to purchase through Farm Fresh Rhode Island, locally sourced. And then we added in the inaugural lunchtime learning event. Farm Fresh's inaugural lunchtime learning event we held at Hoxie
Those
with
carrots
Kiffin.
were awesome.
Yeah, with our friend Kiffin, that's a whole nother long story, how they got the grant money for something Jen filled out. They were able to actually hire a whole new employee, which was great. So the next step in growth with our relationship with the Farm Fresh Rhode Island is a 2024 Farm and Sea to School Institute.
And you're gonna do oysters.
We are, yeah, I'm gonna shuck oysters, gonna do an oyster shucking, right? Set up a table, it'll be
Can't do
great.
shellfish, it's an
Can't do
allergy
shellfish,
risk.
see, Jen.
I was joking.
That'd be nice though.
Oh, yeah.
I know, there's always an allergies, like anything fancy.
So we had a great meeting last week with Kiffin and Stephanie Bush. They're with Farm Fresh Rhode Island, Mr. McCombs, Jen, and Christine at Hoxie. And the program we're looking to set up is this Farm to Sea Institute. Now, this is a very interactive program that Farm Fresh has designed to go into schools in districts. It's currently in Providence and in Smithfield. And it really kind of starts at the ground level, getting people involved. As you can see, they're looking for 4 people to get started. It's usually an administrator, which would be Mr. McCombs and Kayla. Kayla volunteered, thank you, Kayla. Myself, a teacher, which at Hoxie, which is going to be, I think, hopefully the art teacher, and Kiffin, who works with Farm Fresh Rhode Island. You build a team. They have a training on the 27th, 28th at URI. It's a 2-day training where they're going to bring us out, explain to us, and train us on how to institute this program in schools. And as you go through this, and I got tons of information, but I'm short on time, about this program. We're going to begin it at Hoxie. We want to pick
Like a
one
pilot
school.
school.
And Mr. McCombs is great, and we've won other events there. So really, as a pilot school, see what works. I mean, they really can do anything from, they have grant funding to build gardens at schools. They have grant funding to
Field trips.
out to farms as we build relationships with local farmers coming into the schools. Educational material, whether it be printed material. Really, I think the sky's the limit for this program, for what we can do here in the city of Warwick. And that's why I think we're just doing it at Hoxie,
Yeah,
see what
so
works.
and the retreat is where you'll set up the action plan that the district would like to do, and then we try it at Hoxie, and then we can branch off to other schools. And there is a little bit of money too, a little bit of grant
Oh.
money that you can use to put into the program too. So if anyone is interested in the retreat,
Yes,
they let us know and we can send you the information. It is 2 days, it's 2 days of training. I know Leah, you said might be interested in something, Leah Hazelwood too, might be interested in something like this.
I
She's not on this
didn't,
committee anymore.
yeah.
You don't have
But
to
I-
be on
but I
that.
think-
Yeah, you don't
yeah.
I didn't
It-
send it
this
to her
is-
before, but
Yeah,
this is open
she
to
had asked
anybody and
questions
everyone that
about
wants to
the
get
farm to
involved.
school,
We
farm
find
to
them-
table
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
before.
What they found in Smithfield, which is a very successful program, the more people involved, the better it works out, especially from someone on, the high level, right, all the way down to the grassroots level of a teacher local at the schools.
Do you have any like raw data on what Smithfield did and how it was
I
successful?
asked for that. I'm still
Okay.
waiting. I want to see what
They're
they're
gonna-
design.
yeah, they said they're gonna
Robert,
provide you with the plan,
Robert.
is that what they
Yes,
said?
ma'am.
How would you feel if I put this down for the June meeting so that you can go into more depth?
I would enjoy that very much. I think once we have the field trip and once we really can see how we can implement it in steps at Hoxie and what's going to work best for this district and how we can do that, that would really be the time to start growing, and see what works and see what doesn't, right? They have so many great ideas. It's just,
Are you gonna be able to
27th
talk about it before?
and the
Yeah, that's
28th.
what I was
Though?
wondering, so maybe later school committee.
Yeah, I have a lot more material that Kiffin has sent me and Stephanie about the program itself. Hopefully I could get some of the program. I was looking to see how Smithfield, what they do, what works for them, really, kind of.
We have, I
That's
was
right.
actually part of the Smithfield team.
Oh, you
So,
were?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
We went to the actual, in Vermont, Shelburne Farms started it.
Yes.
And then I've been part of the incubator team that they were helping states develop their own, because it's hard for everyone to get. I will say the principal and the assistant superintendent finished interviewing like at 3:30 and then drove. They didn't arrive. All of us had gotten there earlier, but to get to Vermont because they just had so many commitments. So that
wonderful.
can be tough, but it's amazing. It really just keeps you, it's like anything else. You get really excited because there's other schools there with you. You have people with so much knowledge, and it's what happens in the classroom, the cafeteria, and the community. Those are the 3 C's. So it's what they've been very successful in Smithfield. And at our last year's breakfast, Sarah Monaco, the assistant superintendent, talked about a lot of what they've been able to do. But as she said too, it's just like a lot of things. It keeps you on, like you're going to be, and I don't know if it'll be Kiffin or he'll be part of your team, but you'll be given a.
Yeah, he's part of our team.
He's part of the
Yeah, he
team.
got voluntold by
Okay.
Stephanie to be part of our
Oh,
team.
good,
Yes.
okay. But Stephanie actually wasn't part of the Smithfield team, but she was our, like mentor.
Yeah.
And so you have someone that will kind of keep you on schedule, ask you the right questions, get you all together. But it's really great. And it's
Yes.
a great way. You've done so much, so I'm so glad that you're taking this next step and I can tell you're excited about
Well,
it.
We are very
Because
much, yes.
that's
It's a
terrific.
good, it sounds really good. Plus, Warwick has a couple different farms, a couple
Oh, yeah.
different things
Yes.
that you can tap
Yes.
into.
Yes.
We have a big fishing community
Yes.
now that's growing
And
on
just
a
how we can
rapid
learn to
pace.
implement it and use
You know,
that.
and just go with that, you
Yes.
know? Yeah,
How many people are we allowed to have on our team? Because like I asked about like introducing it to wellness committee, but I
Mhm.
didn't know how many people could
She
join
didn't say
us.
we-
I think it's as we, yeah, I don't think there's a limit as we grow it in the district over time. I think we would have as many people as we wanted, because I think each school would have representation. I think
Oh,
on this
okay.
level, the wellness
Okay.
committee would be a great force of implementing this in the schools. So I think that's a great place to start.
What are
Um,
the dates of the training?
27th to 28th of June. It's a Thursday and Friday, I think off the top of my head. And I can't believe you went to the
Yeah,
Vermont
Shelburne
one.
Farms,
Yeah.
And we did talk about it because we wanted to make it a similar experience, that you're feeling like you're really away from, that was what was so great, to give time.
Yes.
How often do you have really time to think about this? So when you put a group together and they make it, will be designed so that you have a lot of time together to sit and think in a beautiful surroundings outdoor,
Yes.
eating delicious food, local foods, just to kind of put you in the right, frame of mind to be able to
Kumbaya.
think about it. Yeah, and
Oh
to
my
just
God.
really think big. And then, but then to hone in on, okay, what steps, what are we gonna do? What's manageable? And like you said too, who do we need to reach out to? Maybe it's the PTO president there, maybe it's the, science teacher, like who does the field trips? Like, let's try to integrate this into
Mhm.
things that the school is already doing. So it's a good framework,
Yes.
for making it successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely tips the spear into the direction we want to go, and it
Absolutely.
allows us the tools for the people to come in and help
Yeah,
support it.
and I
So,
love it too. Start with Hoxie.
Yes.
Start small.
Yes.
Figure out how can it work there, and then when other people hear about
Right.
it too, that's what happens too. And they're like, oh, that's cool what Hoxie's doing.
Yeah, we've built a really nice relationship with Hoxie, Mr.
Yeah.
McCombs over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We're doing events, Apple Crunch event we did this fall, and so
yeah, I heard about
He's
that.
the
That one
best.
went over there.
yeah. So
So at this point, it's 4:02, and so I'm
Thank
going to cut the rest of the agenda. Is there any, we don't have any public members here. Does anyone have any comment or anything that we should know about, or?
Just briefly, at the last meeting, forgive me for running late, it never happens until it's had a snap and I meeting, so. Had a conversation with Deb Bird in regards to speaking to social worker psychologists in regards to, free and reduced lunch, how to promote that more. She's on board 100%. We were talking about, communicating with the, elementary school principals. she's, Tom, whatever you need, whatever you want, we'll work it out. So we're thinking of probably the first meeting of the joint meetings that we have in the fall. And prior to that, I'll have a conversation with Patty Cousineau over the summer, because I'm here every day. And I'll speak to her about how we can get Bev to speak to the principals directly so that we can increase, because you should acknowledge, sitting at open house is not an effective use of anybody's time. So we will brainstorm that, and Bev was like, whatever you need. So-
Just one thought, on that. How about an article maybe in the Beacon? I don't know how many people read it, but maybe it would be helpful.
In terms of increasing the awareness to.
The awareness.
Youth Lunch.
Letting
Ms.
parents
Fox
know
would
what's
like to-
going on.
When John leaves, or when Ms. Fox takes
Oh,
over.
no, John will still be around.
I
He's
think
not
you
going
did
anywhere.
social media, a lot of parents
Yeah.
Yeah.
there.
Do you know, we put
Yeah,
together a
I think that's
toolkit 2
bigger.
years ago, which had all ready-made social media posts with like
That's right.
text to use. I can share that with, I'll
I mean-
attach it again to this.
For those that are
Did
using.
you, oh, and then we did that video, so it's in Spanish and English on how to fill out an application.
Oh, I do have all
You
that
do
on
have
our
that
page,
too?
actually.
So there's a number of things, but I'll just send the whole toolkit out. I mean, just pick what might be usable.
I didn't
But the
realize
good
that
news
was
is that
you
was
guys, I thought it was Rose.
totally
Oh,
what-
she's-
Yeah, yeah. I
Plus
was
the
saying
school
through
social media
that, so-
page.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, it's
yep.
all
Very
linked on our food
important.
service
People
page on
see
our
it,
website.
you know.
just-
Nobody goes there.
What were the dates of those?
27th and 28th, yes, June.
June.
So if you are interested, please pass it on to Jen. She can pass it on to me. I have sent the application in, but I will double check and triple check with Stephanie to make sure we can have.
Were you
So if you
cookie
want
dough?
something for school committee, it would have to be
Yeah.
July, probably.
Cameron.
It would have to be July if you wanted something for school committee. I don't know, you said something about like, talk about it at school committee? Talk about this at school committee?
Oh, no, I think you
No.
said next meeting, right?
Next meeting,
Yeah.
talk about this at.
Next
one.
meeting
On the
here.
18th, yeah.
Thought you meant,
Because he
I
has-
thought
he
you meant
has-
the next meeting at school
No,
committee.
he
the
said he had a
June
lot,
meeting.
and I don't like, I
Never
set my
mind.
meetings for an hour. No problem.
Okay. My head instantly
But
goes.
may I have a
to
motion
committee.
Oh, motion to adjourn?
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye, aye.
Thank you,
I
thank
feel
you.
bad, I just texted
Thank
him.
you for your
I said,
time.
"Hey, if you don't get picked up, next